Welcome back, traders and investors, to Benzinga's pre-market prep, brought to you by Benzinga Pro. I'm your co-host, Joel Elconin, along with Spencer Israel, and we are lucky to have the talented blonde on the show today, better known as Kristen Bentz. Talented blonde, how you doing on this Friday or Tuesday morning? I know it's real early for you. Thanks for coming on.
I'm doing great. It's so happy to be here. A little warm welcome from the Phoenix desert.
Okay, all right. Let's just go into this coal stock right away here. Wall Street Journal reports, hey, they're going to go private. We were discussing it on the show yesterday. Hey, if Wall Street's going to do this to my stock and pound it down like this, and I'm still creating cash, I got value in the company. The heck with Wall Street, I'm going private. What's your take on this idea here?
I actually like it for coals, and it's interesting because when I followed them when I was a little baby analyst, they were such a great stock to own. They were kind of like the gold standard in retail, and you couldn't go wrong owning coals and having it in your portfolio. But we're in a very different place now in the retail landscape, and really the bigger story here is that department stores are in a sunset industry, kind of like Kodak, right? People just don't shop the same way, and department stores aren't compelling. And even though Kohl's was best in class, they're struggling. And it's the same with the Bon-Ton. It's the same with Sears. It's the same with JCP, although they're trying to come back a little bit. I think going private would be a great solution for them.
Okay. All right. And it's hard to put, a valuation on, where would be a fair price. They've come down real hard off that recent high that they made just under $80. So makes sense. We'll have to see what happens. It's currently trading right around 50. Oh man, we could probably be on for the next hour talking about retail disasters here, but let's start with Macy's here. And man, this stock just gets cut in half, overcut in half. Trying to put a little bit of a bottom in here. I mean, is it is it time to dip your toe in the water here in Macy's or stay away?
This is such a struggling issue to talk about because I love Terry Lundgren so much. He's just such a great merchant and a bright guy. But there's certain things that even he can't fix, and Macy's is not immune. They're trying to do everything. They acquired a cosmetics company, kind of like a Sephora, called Blue Mercury, which I thought was strange. They went into, kind of off-price, which is another thing that I thought was strange, like a clearinghouse, like Off-Fifth for Saks or Last Call for Nordstrom. They brought in Sunglass Hut to run all their sunglass businesses. They're bringing in Best Buy kiosks. I mean, they're trying to do everything to fix it. But, and now they're closing stores, which is what they should have done a long time ago. Now, the thing with Macy's is they worked with Bain, and they wholeheartedly believe that to be successful in retail in the future, you need to have what's called a digital presence. So it's local and digital. But obviously, they're having a hard time marrying the two. Macy's is the 7th largest internet company in the world. Did you know that?
Really? I know they've had a good online presence. No, I did not know that.
Yeah, so they were the first ones to really jump on the bandwagon of omni-channel, and that was, the retail word du jour, 2 years ago. So they really jumped in there and were fighting for that share of wallet. And, they have a think tank out in Silicon Valley, ironically. So they're ahead of the curve, but they're still struggling. So that shows you just how difficult the retail landscape is. Macy's, I'd be really cautious here. I think that there's much more room for weakness. I think that the consumer is not shopping the way that department store retailers think she is. And, Kohl's, for instance, like one of their last-ditch attempts is to have same-day delivery. Okay, do you really need same-day delivery from anything at Kohl's? I don't. Seriously, if you need anything, Amazon is where you're going to go, Amazon Prime. And I think we saw that this Christmas season. And as I alluded in your very fine website, benzinga.com, it wasn't a question of consumer spending for Christmas. It was a question of where they spent their money. And so you hear all these funny headlines how sales were lackluster. No, they weren't. They were huge, but they were lackluster in traditional retail channels. And that's what Wall Street's missing, and that's what PMs are missing, and that's what a lot of people are missing in the story. This is a sunset industry, and you have to start figuring out the next big draw for consumer retail, and that's really experiential luxury. That's travel. That's Airbnb. That's Uber. That's the service economy. Those things are thriving. Things like the dry bar.
I was a little disappointed when I went into Kohl's over the summer because my wife finally made me throw out my old tattered jean shorts. And
Shorts.
and I went to Kohl's and I went looking and I asked everyone in the store and they didn't have my jean shorts, Kristen. I was pretty disappointed.
Okay, that is a quiet sign for help. I could talk about the jorts, but that's a whole other segment, okay?
Or maybe I should just cut, I do have some old jeans. Maybe I should just take them to my seamstress and have her cut the pants off on them.
No cutoffs.
No cutoffs? Little fray on the bottom?
No cutoffs.
Oh.
Either you at Coachella? No, I will not let you.
All right. Let just going back here to Macy's real quick. They pull out the REIT trick here. The value in the properties. I mean, is it no, not there? No. Okay, I kind of agree. I kind of agree with you.
JCPenney, they have some amazing real estate in Plano, Texas, which that is kind of interesting to me. Macy's has so much. My God, they want them to do joint ventures. I think they need to get rid of their real estate, to be honest with you. I think they need to close a gazillion stores, and that's a technical term. I believe right now it's 40 coming up. But, yeah, I don't know how I feel about a replay with them. I don't. And it's sad because they're such an amazing brand, and they're doing all the right things. That's the problem. They're doing all the right things, and it's still not working. So I'd be cautious here. I'd stay away from pretty much all the department stores, quite frankly.
All right, I want to ask you, I have my mall and my REIT theory here, and it's really not playing out. Just going to, I'll just go to the Taubman centers here, and, my thesis at, the end of last year when these retailers were just getting slaughtered is, okay, well, so maybe they're going to close some store, and they're not all closing up and they're going out of business. But you would think, since the rent is based on how much you're selling per square foot, that the J.C. Penney's, the Macy's, the Nordstroms, they're going to go to their landlords and going to say, hey, I just can't support, this square footage here and at this price. So my theory is to be shorting, some of these big malls and these REITs here, and that hasn't been the case. Is it just something I should just give up on and just throw that theory aside because there's other people willing to come in? I mean, those spaces are gargantuan. You've been in these malls. I don't know if you've ever been to Somerset. What's the story? Is this thesis going to play out correctly for me?
It really depends on location. Like if you're ever at the Grove in LA, it's this beautiful outdoor lifestyle center. It's beautiful. It's thriving. And I was, where was I? I was at Nordstrom, I think. And I'm looking around, and across the courtyard is a giant space that's empty. And I'm like, what's going on with that? I'm like, oh, that was Nike. I'm like, Nike can't make it work in a space like that at the Grove, which is like an A mall. So it really depends, I think, on who's anchoring the mall. I mean, you have to get really granular here. I don't think you're wrong with your idea or your theory, but I think, you really have to know exactly which location is the most profitable and doing the best. I don't think you can do like a blanket call like that. I think it's way, way, way too high beta.
Okay. All right. Just final comments here. Lululemon. Boy, they're just tacking $5 onto this stock. Little bit of raised guidance here. Stock's been beat up, getting a lot back in one day. Final thoughts here on Lululemon, trading up over $60 after closing at $54.73 yesterday.
Okay. Can I tell you that I get such grief from a lot of investors about being as positive as I am on the name? I think they have a lot of work to do, but they're doing some really cool stuff. And if you watch very closely, they really know what they're doing. They're going into a little bit more high fashion garments. So if you're walking in the store, they're taking risks. And they're creating kind of one-off pieces that are more like something you'd actually wear on the street as opposed to like yoga pants to the studio or yoga pants that never see the studio. So that caught my eye, and that was about a year ago. Then they added swim, which is just a logical brand extension for them. So, everyone talks about Nike buying them or they should be bought out or something, and I don't necessarily think that that's a bad idea. They have such a cult following within that athleisure space that I could see them with the right guidance developing into a lifestyle brand. You know, everything from ready to wear to swim to lingerie to all that stuff. And their men's collection is getting stronger and stronger. And you see more guys walking down the street with Lululemon, and they love it. You know, I was Christmas shopping, and I was in Lulu out here in Scottsdale. You know, this is the land of yoga pants and, you know, Range Rover moms and all of that. And the line at the cash wrap was like mostly men, and it was self-purchased for them. It wasn't for their wives or girlfriends or significant others. So that gets my attention too.
All right.
Yeah, I still am quite bullish, even though the athleisure is like everywhere. You've got Sweaty Betty, you have the Kate Hudson line that she's doing, you have all of these random, let alone Victoria's Secret and their whole line, and Nike and Under Armour. So it's a very crowded space, and obviously you would think that Nike would have much more pricing power just because they're bigger and more nimble. But I'm telling you, that Lulu customer, it is such a cult following. It's like a snobbery within the yoga world. So I definitely am still interested. I think this company has a lot more room to grow, as long as they are mindful, you know, and keep the quality up. The quality and the style has to maintain itself.
I
I'm
cannot
really bullish on
wait.
Lulu.
I cannot wait for them to come out with jean yoga pants.
You need like a yoga short.
Exactly. We've been on the line with Kristen Bentz. She's better known as the talented blonde and very talented in analyzing retail stocks. We really appreciate you coming on, and we are going to get you on a lot sooner than from the last time we had you on. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I hope so.
It was great talking to you. I know I'm going to get a lot of ribbon here on the Benzinga Pro News Desk after we hang up, but it was great talking to you as always. We'll keep an eye on your calls, and we'll speak to you again soon. Thanks, Kristen.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Have a great day.